Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful village nestled by a sparkling river, lived a young man named Ethan. Ethan was known throughout the village for his kind heart and the unwavering devotion to his mother, Clara. Since his father's passing years ago, Ethan had taken on the responsibility of caring for her, working tirelessly from dawn till dusk at the local mill. He didn't earn much, but he made sure his mother never lacked for anything he could provide. They lived in a humble cottage, small but filled with the warmth of their love. Clara, however, had changed over the years. Grief and the hardship had sown seeds of bitterness in her heart, which had grown into a thorny bush of greed. She saw the relative comfort of their neighbors and felt a constant, gnawing envy. She would often complain to Ethan, her voice sharp with discontent. "Look at Mrs. Gabbles's silk dress," she'd say, "or the baker's wife has a pearl necklace. And what do we have? Nothing but these old rags." Ethan would listen patiently, his heart aching for his mother's unhappiness. "Mother," he would say gently, "we have a roof over our heads, food on our table, and we have each other. Isn't that enough to be grateful for?" But his words fell on deaf ears. Clara only saw what she didn't have, and her desire for more grew with each passing day. One sunny afternoon, as Ethan was returning from the mill, he saw a crowd gathered in the village square. Pushing through, he saw a royal messenger riding from a scroll. The king was seeking a brave and honest individual for a special task. The reward was a chest filled with gold coins, enough to make anyone rich beyond their wildest dreams. Essen's heart fluttered. This could be the answer to his mother's desires. With this gold, he could buy her the fine dresses and the jewels she so desperately craved. Perhaps then she would finally find happiness and peace. Without a second thought, he stepped forward and volunteered. The messenger looked him up and down and then led him to the castle. The king, a wise and discerning ruler, explained the task. A legendary enchanted flower, said to bloom only once every 100 years, was hidden deep within the whispering woods. The flower possessed magical properties, and the king needed it for a healing potion to save the ailing queen. The path was treacherous, filled with illusions and the challenges designed to test one's character. Ethan accepted the quest, his mind filled with visions of the god and his mother's happy face. He returned home to tell Clara the news. Instead of pride or concern for his safety, her eyes lit up with a feverish glint. "God, Ethan, a whole chest of it," she exclaimed, clapping her hands. "Don't you dare fail. Bring back the gold, and our lives will finally be perfect." She didn't ask about the dangers he would face, nor did she wish him a safe journey. Her only thought was of the wealth he would bring back. With a heavy heart, Ethan set off the next morning. The whispering woods lived up to its name. Strange sounds echoed through the trees, and the path seemed to shift and change before his very eyes. Soon, he came upon his first trial. He saw a vision of his mother, looking frail and sick, calling out for him. "Ethan, my son, I'm ill. Please, come back to me," the illusion pleaded. Essen's heart clenched in fear, but then he remembered the king's warning about illusions. He also knew his mother was healthy when he left. Stilling his resolve, he sighed aloud, "My mother is strong. This is a trick." He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and walked straight through the vision, which dissolved like smoke. He journeyed on and faced another test. A shimmering pile of gold coins appeared on the path before him, far more than the king had promised. A seductive voice whispered on the wind, "Take it. It's all yours. Forget the flower. This is what you truly want." Ethan was tempted. This was an even greater fortune, but then he thought of the ailing queen and the promise he had made to the king. His integrity was not for Sally. "I am here for the enchanted flower, not for gold," he declared, and he walked past the glittering illusion. Finally, after days of travel and the overcoming many such trials of fear, greed, and doubt, Ethan reached a clearing. In the center, bathed in a soft, ethereal light, was the most beautiful flower he had ever seen. Its petals shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow, and a gentle humming sound emanated from it. This was the enchanted flower. As he reached out to pluck it, a beautiful, mystical lady appeared beside him. She was the guardian of the flower. "You have a pretty heart, Ethan," she said, her voice like wind chimes. "You have overcome greed and fear. You are worthy, but I must offer you a choice. You can take this flower to the king and receive your chest of gold. Or, you can have this pouch." She held up a simple leather pouch. "It will magically provide you and your mother with everything you truly need for the rest of your lives: food, clothing, a warm home. You will never be rich, but you will never be in want." Ethan thought for a long moment. He remembered his mother's incessant demands for luxury. The gold would make her ecstatic, but for how long? Would it truly bring her happiness? Or would it just feed her endless hunger for more? Then he thought about the pouch. A life of simple comfort, free from struggle and worry. It was the life he had always wished for, a life of peace and contentment. It was what they truly needed. He chose the pouch, Ethan sighed with conviction. The guardian smiled warmly. A wise choice. She handed him the pouch and he helped him carefully pluck the enchanted flower. Ethan returned to the castle and he presented the flower to the king. The king was overjoyed and he offered him the chest of gold as promised. Your Majesty, Ethan sighed, bowing low. I am grateful for your offer, but I have already received my reward. Your gratitude is enough for me. The king, impressed by his humility and honor, insisted he take a small bag of coins as a token of thanks, which Ethan humbly accepted. He journeyed home, his heart light and hopeful. He found his mother pacing impatiently. Do you get it? Where is the gold? She demanded, her eyes scanning him for any sign of a heavy chest. Ethan calmly presented her with the small bag of coins from the king and the simple leather pouch. Mother, this is our true treasure, he explained, telling her about the pouch's magic. It will always provide for our needs. We will never go hungry or cold again. Clara's face twisted in fury. Needs? You don't want needs, you want wants. You wanted silks and jewels, a grand house. You had a chest of gold in your grasp, and you traded it for this pathetic bag. You are a fool, Ethan, a fool. In her rage, she snatched the pouch from his hands. If this is so magical, let's see what it can do, she screamed. I need a diamond necklace. I need a silk gown. I need a feast fit for a queen. She shook the pouch violently, her voice filled with desperate greed. But the pouch remained inert. It only provided for true needs, not for avarice. Blinded by her fury, Clara did not understand. She thought Ethan had been tricked. In a fit of uncontrollable rage, she ran to the fireplace and threw the pouch into the crackling flames. Ethan cried out and he tried to retrieve it, but it was too late. The leather sizzled and he turned to ash. The magic was gone. A stunned silence filled the cottage. The last hope for a peaceful, contented life had been destroyed by Clara's own hand. The small bag of coins from the king was all they had left. It didn't last long. Soon, they were back to where they started, with Ethan working tirelessly at the mill for their meager existence. But this time, something was different. The cottage was no more longer filled with even the faintest warmth. It was filled with a heavy, suffocating silence. Clara was a broken woman. The fire of greed that had burned so brightly within her had consumed everything, leaving only the cold ashes of regret. She finally had what she deserved. Nothing. She sat by the cold cart day after day, staring into the emptiness, a living monument to her own folly. Ethan continued to care for her, for she was still his mother. But the love and the tenderness in his heart had been replaced by a quiet sorrow. He had learned a powerful and painful lesson, that true wealth is not measured in gold or jewels, but in contentment and gratitude. And that greed, once it takes root in the human heart, is a fire that consumes everything it touches, leaving behind only despair and the emptiness.